It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Divas That Care. My name is Candace Gish. Well, I'm very excited that each and every one of you has joined us today. We have a great show for you. I'm going to be welcoming back my amazing friend, Rhonda Armour, and she's got some amazing tips for you. And really, it's always awesome to have her on because she shares so much with each of us. And I really have learned so much over the years from her. And I know that this year is going to be exceptional. We both have this vision, and I just think we're going to be able to inspire so many people. So I'm glad that you've tuned in. If this is your very first time, a huge welcome. We've been doing this now for 13 years. It's hard to believe, I keep on thinking, oh my goodness, where has time gone? I've been so fortunate and blessed to be able to interview so many people around the world. We're listened to now in over 30 countries. We have a variety of amazing hosts on our network. We've just welcomed a whole bunch of new ones recently, and I hope that you're able to go and check them out because their shows also are so inspiring. They just make you want to make the world a better place. So make sure you go check them out also. All right, let's get started. Rhonda, I am so happy to be chatting with you again in this brand new year.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be back. I always love our chats and being able to sort of share some real, down-to-earth, conversations with your listeners. So thanks for having me back.
Well, it is my pleasure. We didn't have a program here in January, but now that we're in February, we're going to get going here. Rhonda, Would you mind introducing yourself to our new listeners?
Absolutely. So I am a nutrition and lifestyle coach as well as a personal trainer. And I do all of my work virtually. So wherever you happen to be around the globe, I'm happy to help. But really, I'm working with women one-on-one to develop strategies around implementing self-care. Us women are really great at taking care of everybody else and everything else, and we don't always put ourselves at the top of the priority list. So I work with women to figure out strategies for implementing better nutrition, more movement, better sleep and stress management, and mindset, which is a huge piece of it. And we work together to figure out how we put self-care back on the top of their priority list and put them in the driver's seat so they can feel amazing each and every day, because we all deserve to feel that way, physically and mentally. And I get to, touch the lives of amazing women who are ready to take charge of their life again. And if you need help with that too, then I am here to help. But it's a blessing, and I'm super lucky to do what I do.
Oh, I love that. And we're so grateful that you share your wisdom with all of us, because it truly is great. Today, right before our program here, you and I had chatted a little bit about our lives and, why it's important to listen to ourselves. So our topic today, guys, is listening to yourself. I think it's really important. I think, as you had mentioned, as women, we sometimes take on a lot, and we think that we are I don't know if we think that we're invincible, that we can keep on going, even when we're not feeling well, or we keep on going. And I've really noticed it with myself over the last little while. Like, I never took the time just to listen to my body. And I noticed even in the last month, I took some time for myself. And oh my goodness, I noticed such a difference. So I wanted to really chat with you. Why is it that we do that? Why don't we really think about this, that we need to take more time for ourselves, and why is it important?
Yeah. So I think we just, we tend to operate on autopilot, and we just keep plowing through life, and I don't know, hoping or thinking that things will magically sort themselves out and get better for us or get easier, and it won't, because we just keep taking on more and more things. And when we live in this sort of zone of autopilot, we are not being mindful, and we are not paying attention. We're not living presently, and until we can stop and sort of put our heads up and open our eyes and look around and go, is this really working for me? Is how I'm living my life working for me? And we are really good, as I said earlier, as women, it's much easier to take care of everybody else because it doesn't require, we can sort of be a little bit emotionally detached, right? It's not our life. We're helping other people, whether it's family or friends or community members, and we can help, and it feels good. I'm not saying to stop helping other people in your life and stop being concerned about other people. I think both things can exist at the same time. I think we can, give to others, but we can give to ourselves at the same time. And but the process of looking internally and reflecting on what's working and what's not in our own lives requires us to be honest with ourselves and some level of vulnerability. And that's where it can be a little bit scary because there's work to be done then. And that we tend to, run away from that. It's really because of fear, right? It's like we're not sure how we can do this, and we're not sure how we can overcome this, and we're not sure how we can fix this. And so then we just don't do anything at all, and we keep carrying on with our lives the way that they are. And like you said, until you sort of start to pay attention and go, wait a second, I don't really feel great, and I'm tired, and I'm worn down, and I'm lacking energy, and maybe my mental health is starting to become affected. Only then do we really sort of, we have an opportunity then to really make change if you continue to pay attention and then take action. But we're not great at that. And, I had my own experience, just like you had shared, Candace, in the new year. Everyone's talking about New Year's resolutions, and, people that have listened to your show before know that I'm very anti-New Year's resolution, as you are, I believe. And I saw everyone, more in my business, like seeing all these, entrepreneurs doing all these things. Oh, they're doing this and doing that. And I sort of felt like, wait a second, why am I not super pumped to do, new things and take on all these new things? And then I sort of went, wait a second, those things don't work for me. Right now where I'm at works for me, and I'm good with what is happening in my world and my business and my personal life. And this is what works for me, and not comparing ourselves to everybody else, and being honest about not having to take on too much and just being happy with sort of where we are. But it requires reflection. It requires us to be honest with ourselves about when we need to slow down and when we need to push forward. And that can be a scary process and a little daunting.
You know what? I'm going to agree with you there. I kind of had that aha moment, in January. I thought I had it all together, to be honest. I thought that. I was like, I understand. I talk to people. I know what I'm doing, but I really didn't, if that makes any sense. Like I know the process, I understand, but I wasn't really looking after myself. And I always thought I was, but obviously I wasn't. And listening to 100%. You, I know that it's not just me, because I used to think it's like, well, maybe it's just in my head. It's just me, but it's really not.
No, it's not. And this is the thing. This is why we have to have these conversations, right? Because we need for people to understand. This is why, you share your personal experiences and I share my personal experiences, because just because, I do this for a living doesn't mean that I am not impacted by the topics that we talk about, right? And I share with my clients. I'm very open and honest about it, because I don't want women to feel that they're alone in what's going on. And I don't want them to think, like you said, maybe this is a me problem. Maybe this is just me that's having a hard time, taking good care of myself. And that's why, people bring me into their world to help them sort of see things from a different perspective. And it's okay to ask for help when we're sort of feeling lost in our own lives and not knowing how to navigate or not how to take care of ourselves. It's so important to be able to ask for help.
And that's something that I never did.
Yeah.
I always felt guilty with asking for help. And that is one of my things that I have to get over. And I really did have to do that in the last month. Is I had to ask for help, and it was almost a prideful thing, having to do that. It's very challenging, and I get it. I've been there. I'm going through it, and you know what? It's okay.
Yes. No, it totally is. And I sometimes, we have to give ourselves permission to not be okay. Right? We have to give ourselves permission to question things and to make changes and to dial back. Like, listen, there's a time and a place when we should be hitting the pause button. It doesn't mean we're not doing anything. It doesn't mean we're suddenly sitting on the couch and doing nothing and not being productive. But it means that we're not necessarily taking on new things, whether it's in your personal life, it's in your business, it's not saying yes to everything that comes your way. It means that, wait a second, I'm just going to handle sort of what's on my plate right now and be content with that and be happy and sort of cozy at home with that. And then there's a time where we might be a little more mentally, physically capable and have the capacity to take more on. And that's great too, right? So it's understanding your own energy, your own time, your own sort of your mental space that you have. But if you're not in tune with it and you're not paying attention, then you likely will end up getting in over your head, right? But it's hard. Listen, I am not going to sit here and pretend that any of this is easy. It takes work. But gosh, like you probably recognize that by you sort of dialing it back a bit and asking for help and slowing down a bit, the benefits, right, and make you more capable down the road of taking on the things that you want to take on because you've taken the moment this doesn't mean we're going to the spa for a day and suddenly we're better. This is a daily, weekly, this might go on for months at a time, and that's fine too. You give yourself the time that you need in order to get to a point where you feel like, okay, now I'm going to push forward. And dialing it back a little bit, again, it doesn't mean that we're letting other people down in our lives. It doesn't mean that suddenly we'll become couch potatoes. It suddenly doesn't mean that we're not taking care of ourselves. By doing it, we are taking care of ourselves. By not saying yes to everything, by setting boundaries for our lives and what we take on, and taking small steps. Maybe we need to take baby steps. We've talked about baby steps before in different things, smaller steps than we normally would take. That is taking good care of ourselves.
How about reflection? Is this a good time to start doing some reflection, maybe start doing a little bit of journaling? I'm not saying like do a whole page, but maybe, a paragraph so that you can kind of see what you're going through, but kind of see the process and the evolution of it.
Yes, absolutely. Reflection is, and again, it can be scary because now you're looking inwards, right? Instead of looking outwards at everybody else. Now it's like, oh my gosh, the mirror has been flipped and now I have to look at myself. And that's okay. And I always, I want you to ask yourself, like, is this working for me, right? Whatever it might be. It could be your job. It could be your personal life. It could be, activities that you engage in. It could be your eating habits. It could be your exercise habits. It could be all sorts of things. Does this work for me, right? And if it's not working for you, that doesn't mean that we just take it off the table. It just means that we have to start to think about different strategy around having these habits part of our lives, or, maybe it's a change in job or whatever it might be, a relationship you have with somebody, but asking yourself, does this work for me? And if the answer is no, or not really, or I don't know, then there has to be some reflection that's done because change isn't going to happen without making some changes, right? So
exactly.
The reflection piece is key in whatever way that works for you. I have clients that love to journal. I have clients that meditate. I have clients that, also I like to go on walks, long walks, and oftentimes I'm listening to my podcast, but at the same time, I'm still reflecting and I'm thinking about like, okay, I need to step back and look at things from a distance and see the big picture here. So whatever sort of way works for you, it's the fact that you're doing it. It's the fact that you are now paying attention and being aware of how you're living your life and what areas of your life are not really working for you.
And one of the things we've talked about in our past shows is having a really good support network. So if some of our listeners are saying, well, I don't have that, like, what do I do? What kind of suggestions can you give them? Like, what if they are that type of person that just doesn't have the people around them that can really help them out? Like, should they listen to podcasts? I'd love to hear your advice.
Yeah, there's certainly lots of podcasts out there, and everyone's going to be resonating with someone different, right? So sometimes it's a little bit of trial and error to figure out what's going to work for you, whether it's more of a personal development thing or, that sort of thing. Listen, there's no shame in going to speak to someone. Maybe it's a therapist, maybe it's a life coach. Part of what I do in my business is some life coaching built into the nutrition and the exercise and all of that, because what's going on in your life impacts your ability to make good decisions around your nutrition, your sleep habits, and how you manage stress and all of those things. So it could be someone like myself, and I'm not saying you need to, that I am the answer, but someone that does something similar to what I do. It's okay, like we said earlier, to ask for help. So we have to be resourceful and reach out and have conversations. I know in my business I offer a complimentary consultation. So just that opportunity to have a conversation, to say, this is what's going on, and see if the coach, whether it's me or someone else, might be able to be the right fit for you. And you have to be willing to do your research and gather the information and ask the right questions. I want people to be an advocate for themselves, whether it's around their physical health, their mental health, just their life in general. Be an advocate for yourself and do this sort of sourcing of information, because there's lots of people out there. It could just be even your family doctor if you have a good relationship with them. It could be a nutritionist, a dietitian. It could be, you going out and joining a hiking club that with like-minded women. You'd be surprised at where you develop these relationships that can actually help you move the needle on making change in your life, or
I love that.
pick the positive in your life, right?
And volunteering, getting out there.
Oh my gosh.
Just, finding a passion, something that's important. It's amazing what that does and what a difference it makes in your life.
Absolutely. And the opportunity to meet people, again, like-minded people. Put yourself in situations where you're going to, be able to be surrounded by people that are similar to you, right, that have similar interests. And again, if that's not your thing, either being, surrounded by lots of people, then again, maybe the one-on-one approach with, again, a therapist, a coach of some sort, maybe that would help. Like I have said before on the show that I 3 years ago brought in a business coach into my life, not because my business was not doing well, but because I had some thoughts and I had ideas, and I wasn't sure with different things, and I didn't have anyone else to bounce the ideas off of, and going to family or friends just wasn't the right fit for me. I needed someone that was specialized in that area. And I brought a business coach into my life that I can talk to and like I said, bounce ideas off of, and questions and put proposals forward, with, and just to chat with. And it is the best thing I ever did. So inviting people into your life where you feel it might have impact for you. But again, it goes back to the process of reflection, asking questions, and doing that sort of deep dive within yourself to figure out what might be a good path for you.
Great advice. I love that. So, Rhonda, let's chat about your book, because I know that we've had a great conversation about listening to yourself, but I really think that now your book part of it is really important, because for the people out there that sometimes it's challenging to go out and ask for help and to seek relationships and that, for myself, I love to read. I am a big, big book reader, and I love the knowledge and learning new things. So I want to share your book with our listeners, because I think it would be something that they would love.
It is, it truly is in line with what we've just talked about today about, and what I call in the book I refer to as the inner work. It is looking internally to question how you move forward with anything, with taking on new eating habits, with taking on new opportunities for exercise, for, taking on new stress management techniques, anything like that. And it's not me giving you the advice on like, hey, do this, do that, eat like this, move like this. No, the book is about listening to yourself and making sure you're asking yourself the right questions and putting strategies in place that are custom to you. You know yourself best. You know what you like, what you don't like, kind of what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what you've tried in the past and what's worked. So doing that deep internal dive before we start anything new, I think is important. And that's what it's about. And I share a lot of my personal, while the book is called, Before You Start Another Diet, Read This, it's not about dieting. It's about accepting who you are and creating a lifestyle that is based on who you are as a person and the lifestyle you've created for yourself, and really stop, looking at external sources or people or programs or fad things out there that you think will just fix you, and instead trusting yourself enough to know that you have the knowledge within to figure out what's going to work for you best. And it's a simple read in terms of it's not a lengthy book, it's not overly complicated, and that's the feedback that I've gotten, that people really found helpful, that they didn't feel overwhelmed when they read the book, that it gave them a new perspective and different ways to think about things that maybe we haven't in the past. So it's available on Amazon if you want to grab it, but it is really in line with what we talked about, and doing that inner work before we move forward with any sort of changes in our life.
Perfect. And how can our listeners get a hold of you, Rhonda? What is your website?
So my website is rhondaarmourcoaching.com, and on there you will see what I offer in terms of coaching. Again, everything is virtual, but most of all, really, as soon as you get to the website, you will see my philosophy around coaching and my methodology. So it's very clear. It's very in line with what I talked about today. You can book a complimentary consultation right through my website with no pressure about, to commit to anything. It's simply a conversation. So yeah, I'd love it, if people would reach out and connect with me. I'm always here to help in any capacity that I can. And if I don't feel like I can, I'm always very honest about that, but I have, sort of a great, scope of resources that I can sort of forward people along if I don't feel like we are a good fit.
That's perfect. And you also have an amazing newsletter that you do. And our listeners can go and sign up for that, can't they?
Yes. On my website, same spot, exactly. It's easy, and I promise I won't contact you outside of the monthly newsletter. It's once a month, just some little tips and some fun information, some recipes, and I always put a link to this podcast on my newsletter as well, so we can share the information with people out there. So yeah, it's a little bit of fun in your mailbox every month.
It's perfect, and I really enjoy reading it. So it's great, guys. So you should definitely sign up. Well, Rhonda, thank you so much for coming and chatting with me today. I've had so much fun. It is always a pleasure chatting with you, and I'm so excited. I really feel like 2023 is going to be an amazing year, and we're going to be able to do so many things and I think really inspire so many people out there. So I just want to let our listeners know that you do have a playlist on SoundCloud that they can go and check out, and they can also see all of your other shows on our Divas That Care website.
Perfect. I love it. We always have great conversations that are real, that pertain to, everyone out there. So thank you again for the opportunity to, have the important conversations. I think we're impacting a lot of people out there, and you do amazing work. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. It is so much fun, isn't it? And I love it that we can do this together. Honestly,
yes,
it is it's a pleasure. It's a highlight of my month. So thank you again. And you know what, guys? I want to do a big shout out to all of our listeners. Especially to the ones that have been with us for the last 13 years. I know that you've been a part of this crazy journey. We've all learned so much together, and it has been so much fun. And I really can't stress how grateful I am to, not only just the amazing listeners that have been with us, but the guests and just everybody. It has been so much fun, and I can't wait to continue doing this year, and hopefully many more shows over the years. Because I know that there's just so much to learn. There's so many people to meet, and there's so many stories to share with all of you. So thank you again to Rhonda. Thank you to all of our listeners. Make sure that you go to the Divas website to check out all the new hosts and all the shows there. We definitely have them all recorded, and they're absolutely great. And please remember to do something kind. Our show is about kindness, about collaborations, about respect, and we definitely want to keep promoting that in the world today because we need more kindness. So until next time, everyone, have a fantastic day.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.